Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 7 of the Division 3 Championship. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Car Mentalist. I'll be taking you through proceedings as always in Division 3. And joining me in the commentary box today is not Dylan. We've got someone new joining us today. In the comments box today, we have last season's runner-up in Division 3, or the Division 3.5 champion, as he would like to refer himself as. It's Iro Packer. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm super excited to get my first commentary in for League of Europe.
Yeah, really, really exciting. Obviously, you've been doing a bit of commentary over the past week or so you've been getting your practice in, I would say. And obviously you have quite a lot of experience in League of Europe and with a lot of people in this division as well, so it'll be interesting to see your point of view coming into round 7 of the season. Before we get going for qualifying today, I will just run you through proceedings with the championship order coming into round 7. So after Baku, which if anyone was tuning into that race last time out, it's fair to say that was a pretty hectic race, to say the least. We had 4 full safety cars and 1 virtual safety car. Legend won the race in the end, but Legend has been moved up into Division 2, so he will not be taking part in this division any longer. Yorno still leads the championship, but for the first time this season didn't score any points in Baku. He's ahead of J. Cole, but the gap between them is 16 points. Third in the standings is Caesar, ahead of Mark, Eduk, B. Morgan, YHYY, Harry Nawag after his first podium of the season. TDB and Stumpy rounds off the top 10. And just before we get into qualifying, obviously, Packer, you know quite a few people in this division. Is there anyone that you're kind of surprised to see either really high up or really low down in the championship?
Honestly, I expected Caesar to be higher because obviously he was D1 last season. Mark, I don't know. He was in D2 last season, so I would have expected him again to be up higher, but with the new game, that's going to change a few things, and especially with J. Cole. Really, I guess disappointed to see him down in D3, but it's whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously running second in the championship, J. Cole didn't have the best of starts to seasons, but it's fair to say that his form recently has come on strong. He's picked up 1 win so far this season. That was at Vietnam. And Vietnam, Netherlands and Spain were 4 top 5 finishes in a row for him. Coming into Canada, Canada's a pretty unique track compared to everything we've had so far. How do you feel? I know how you feel about Canada, but for everyone else that's watching, how do you feel about this track?
Canada is one of like my top 5 tracks, I'd say, in terms of performance, and I really enjoy it. Having the wheel, it allows me to just, I guess, be faster, be more precise, and anybody who has a wheel here should have quite an advantage.
Definitely a lot of chicanes around the track. It's a quick change of direction is key around this circuit, so yeah, having a wheel is a real advantage at this circuit. Coming into qualifying then, we've got 18 minutes ahead of us. We've got 17 drivers in the lobby today. We're also going to run you through a little bit of a lineup change coming into this event. So JSD, people may know him as Yari, he's been moved down from Division 2 down into Division 3. He's basically swapping with Legend, so Legend's been moved up, he's been moved down. Red Bull, we have an all new lineup. So Savage, he took part in the Spanish race. He finished 5th in that race. I believe he was in the Haas as a reserve. He's now full-time Red Bull driver in place of Paul, and in place of Legend in the other Red Bull is Miami 5, who's been moved up from Division 4, and they are both they are race winners. Miami's a race winner. Yorno's unfortunately left the session, so fingers crossed he can get back in before we probably get going. But just looking at the people that have joined into Division 3 recently, is there anyone that maybe stands out as maybe someone that could throw a bit of a challenge in?
I know Miami 5 did really well in D4, winning the Spanish Grand Prix, I believe. So he should be pretty strong, I'm guessing mid-top 10. And then I want to see what JSD can do, because he didn't do all that much in D2, but I know he had a good France pre-season race. So hopefully he will be strong.
Yeah, we've obviously we raced against him in the pre-season races, and he was very strong in France. And it's not really in Division 2, at least. He didn't really live up to the speed he had in pre-season, which was a shame to see. So maybe Division 3 is more suited to him. We're going to ride on board with Harry Nawag. He's going to be our first person to do a lap around Canada. Expect people to be qualifying on the softs. It is a 2-stop strategy around this track. It's the first proper 2-stop we have of the season. It's a soft medium or a soft medium soft, depending on how well you can look after the tyres. But into turn 1 we go then with Harry Nawag, and through turn 2. Very easy to break traction around this track. So easy, especially coming out of turn 2 and out of the turn 10. 1/10 hairpin. Pease is retired from the session. I don't know if Pease has maybe picked up a quali ban somewhere along the way, but he's retired in the pit lane, so he will be starting from the back of the grid for the first time this season, I believe, as Harry Noir at the end of the first sector, coming through turn 6 and 7. Again, very easy to break traction coming out of turn 7. Now down the first of the 3 DRS straights we have on this track, into turn 8 and 9. Incredibly easy to invalidate on the inside and the outside of this corner. Gets through turn 9, but loses the car on the curb just too early on the power and hits the wall coming out of the corner. So already we have a mistake from someone in qualifying, and it's Harry Noir's
whatever, B Morgan.
Yeah, he's parked in the middle of the road at the moment. Hopefully Harry Noir can get out of the way in time. He moves off the racing line. B Morgan got past, but I don't know if that was compromised his lap in any way, shape or form. He hasn't invalidated his time, so let's see if he can get round and finish this lap. He's coming up to the end of the second section. He's coming up to the end of the lap now, coming into the final chicane, turns 13 and 14, one of probably the most iconic corner on the track. So easy to hit the wall of champions on the exit. He darts through the chicane, very committed from B Morgan, keeps it right to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line, and our first time in the session is a 1 minute 8.2 from B Morgan, which is actually a very competitive time.
Yeah, having Chill come to the line now on a 9.2, second off of B Morgan. Not what will be ideal for him in the racing point. Savage, I believe, invalidated his lap time.
Yeah, he has. He invalidated coming out the final chicane by the looks of things. Miami has gone into second, but he's also on a 9.2, so B Morgan still a second down in front. His Haas teammate Tons just crossed the line, but he's invalidated his time. J. Cole goes to second on a medium set of tyres, an 8.9 on a set of mediums, which is a very competitive lap. Edot now goes second in the Ferrari on an 8.7, so he now jumps up onto provisional front row. But it's fair to say, B Morgan, the start of this season, he obviously moved down from Division 2 last season, and the start of his season has been fairly innocuous. He's had a couple of good results, but other than that, he's kind of been languishing in the mid to the bottom end of the top 10 the whole season long. So at the moment, even if he doesn't take pole today, this is going to be a real confidence booster for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be, since I'm pole, or provisional pole position right now on that 8.2. It's a pretty decent lap, I'd say, but I think pole position should be around a 7.9 or a 7.8, so he's gonna have to look to find a little bit more time out of that.
Yeah, never too comfortable in qualifying. Even if you set a good time early out, you're gonna want to be out there and trying to beat your best time. J. Cole definitely the one to look out for. Third at the moment on a set of medium tyres, and a lot of people know how fast J. Cole is around this track. He absolutely adores Canada. He's going to do another lap on this set of medium tyres, so he's going to come up to the line. He hits the wall coming out of the final chicane, but he's going to complete this lap, and he actually does a 1 minute 8.6 now on a set of mediums. He goes 2.5 tenths quicker, puts himself on the front row on a set of medium tyres. That's fairly ominous for the rest of the session. TDB on the same set of tyres, currently in 7th, is nearly a second down on J. Cole. So J. Cole, only 4 tenths off pole position on a set of medium tyres is very impressive, but he's already taken 2 laps out of those medium tyres, which isn't going to help him in that race strategy, is it?
Yeah, it's really not going to, because those mediums are going to have to do about 15 laps if you want to make the strategy work. So taking those extra 2 laps out of them is just going to compromise your strategy.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what his tyre wear is like during the race, whether he's able to keep the life in the tyres for as long as you say, for 15 laps. If he's able to do that, then fair enough for doing 2 laps on the medium tyres, but it's definitely compromising him in the race at the moment. Just looking further down, we've only had 7 people set a time so far. We've got 17 people in the lobby, so over half the lobby haven't set a valid time yet. Peter's crossed the line. He's already broken his front wing, though, coming out of the final chicane before his laps even started. So Peter, he's not going to be able to set a competitive time this time round. JSD's done 2 laps on his set of soft tyres and has invalidated both of them so far, so he's currently struggling in 13th as well. And that's another thing around Canada, is setting a valid lap time here is really, really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, all the track limits are pretty strict in Canada, especially on this game. Last game it was a little bit more lenient, I'd say, especially with the turn 8-9 chicane.
Yeah, 8-9 chicane here is a real hotspot for track limits, and in the race as well, that's going to be really, really key. The amount of penalties people pick up in this race could decide this one, especially if we do have a late safety car. A person with a number of penalties could drop down even if they finish really, really well. Mark's on a lap at the moment. He did a fairly competitive first sector, a 19 flat. That's a good start to the lap for the Renault man. We've seen it many times this season that Mark's qualifying pace is very strong, but his race pace or just mistakes in the race haven't meant that he's been able to get a really, really decent he's missed out on a couple wins really so far this season, has Mark. He's invalidated through that turn 8, so he's another one to fall foul of invalidating his time, so he will not be able to set a valid time to go up to the front of the board this time around. He's going to continue on his lap by the looks of things, so he can get some sort of delta on his dash for the next time round. So let's see what his time is without that invalidation, coming into the final corner now, and he's actually going to dive straight into the pit lane, so he's not actually going to cross the line and set that lap time. So he's now down into 17th as we've had someone jump up the field.
It was Harry in the Alfa Romeo.
Harry
he
first.
Did touch a few walls, I believe, out of turn 9 and the wall of champions, but didn't lose any end plates, so he still has a little bit more time, as does everyone else.
Yeah, and we've already seen Harry Newmark have a spin coming out of turn 9, so he's clearly struggling at the moment with overall speed and confidence around here. B. Morgan's on another lap in the Haas. He's invalidated it though. He was slightly up in the first sector, but has invalidated, I imagine, probably through turn 6 or 7. That's why he's not been able to complete this lap. He's going to continue on. Actually, no, he's just put it down into low ERS mode, so he is not going to continue with this lap by the looks of things. We've got Miami in 5th. He's on a lap in the Red Bull, and he's 3/10 up on his personal best in the first sector, so clearly made a mistake on his first run. Let's see what he can do as he runs now through the second sector, down the DRS straight, a very short DRS straight. We just had Savage in the other Red Bull jump up into 4th place. Good lap from him, just behind Eduk in 3rd. Tun's gone into 5th in the second Haas, which is good for him as well. Haas currently running 1st and 5th. This is probably their best joint qualifying of the season so far, at least. Miami is still that 3/10 up by the end of the second sector, but not really improving on his personal best through that part of the lap. Now coming down the back straight and then into the final chicane. Let's see if he can keep this up. If he does improve by that 3/10 margin, this could put him into the top 5. Let's see what his final sector is like, whether he's able to take even more time out of his personal best. And he actually takes too much curb on the inside of turn 13, and that has invalidated his run. He comes up to line, he has backed off already. He would have improved anyway, even with him backing off, but just goes to show once again it is so easy to invalidate your time here, and Miami is another one to fall foul of it. And if you can't get your perfect lap time in, qualifying lower down here could be a real struggle, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely can. It's pretty easy to stay within the persons in front of you, their DRS, but it's very difficult to overtake unless you use like maybe 30 or 40% ERS. So yeah, pretty difficult to overtake, especially with the high-speed chicanes, which doesn't help, especially with dirty air.
Yeah, and there's obviously, with the high-speed chicanes, there's not really a lot of heavy braking zones here, apart from probably turn 10 is really the heaviest braking zone on the track, and that's not really an overtaking position. So JSD, he was on another lap, but he's already invalidated at the turn 3 and 4 chicane, so that's another lap time down the drain for him. We'll have to wait and see who else is on a lap. J. Cole's on a lap, his first lap on the softs. He's 3.5 up on his personal best by the end of the second sector, so this could put him onto provisional pole. J. Cole, I think, would be disappointed with anything less than pole here. We know how good he is around this track. Coming into the final chicane, very committed on the inside, nice and neat, not invalidated, keeps it out of the wall. Now for the shortest one to the line, what's the time going to be from J. Cole? And it's an 8 flat, a great final sector, and he now takes provisional pole position by 0.2 of a second, and now everyone's going to have to play catch up. And at the moment, other than B. Morgan, no one is within half a second of J. Cole at the moment.
Yeah, I believe we have Jari starting a lap, JSD down to 15th. And J-Luke, I think, starting a lap as well. Or he's invalidated already.
He's picked up some damage as well on the right-hand side, so I imagine he's hit the wall coming out of the final chicane. Have to wait and see who else is on a lap. Peter's invalidated his run. He crosses the line with an 11.4. That's obviously him backing off to start another run on these soft tyres. Yorno's back in the session, but he hasn't left the pit box, so he hasn't been able to set a time in the McLaren, unfortunately. Mark's on another run.
Third.
Bree, yeah, in the other Renault. While we're talking about Mark, Bree goes up into 3rd. Bree's form at the start of the season was a little bit lackluster, but recently his form has really improved, and he's up into the top 3. Let's see where his Renault teammate can go. Mark a little bit wide coming out of the final chicane. Maybe braked a little bit too late for that, coming to the line, and it's only an 8.8 for Mark. He goes into P6 with that, but we are still waiting for lap times from 5 other drivers. So Mark, at the moment, not looking that competitive here. I mean, I say that, 3rd all the way down to... Well, 3rd all the way down to 7th is separated by about 0.2 of a second, so it's incredibly close. But again, Mark not quite where he needs to be, especially running 4th in the championship. He really needs to be taking as many points out of J. Cole and Yorno as he possibly can.
Yeah, it really does. I think we have B. Morgan, the closest person to finishing a lap. He's half a 10th down.
I think one of the Alfa Romeos, that might be Harry coming up to start a lap. We'll have to wait and see when he crosses the line if that is Harry starting a lap. I think it is. Actually, no, I think it was Peter.
Oh, B Morgan hitting the wall, losing an end plate. That's
Yeah,
not going to help his lap time.
Across
Yeah,
the line,
doesn't improve.
Doesn't improve on it, 8.3, so good start to the session, but Morgan's not been able to match his own time as of yet, so maybe he's peaked a little bit too early in this session. We've got Ton on a lap in the other house. He's 2/10 up in the first sector alone, so that's a great first sector from him. An 18.9, that's very competitive. Let's see what he can do throughout the rest of the lap. We've got Yorno coming up to start his first run in this session, which is good to see. We've got one of the Ferraris, I think that might be Pelly, maybe blocking one of the Williams through the last corner. Can't quite see who that is. That must be TDB coming up to finish a lap. I think actually it's TDB coming up to start.
One.
And he started,
getting blocked by Pelly.
Yeah, both of them started a lap very close together, so that's not going to work at all between those two. TDB is going to have to back off maybe. Pelly's entitled to be there, and actually Pelly does the Sebastian Vettel and goes straight through the grass at turn 3 and 4, so actually TDB is given a little bit of free air and he's a 10th up on his personal best. We'll ride back with Ton and see whether he can improve. Coming up to the line, he's 3/10 up by the end of the second sector. He crosses the line and he goes third with an 8.3. Great final sector up into third place. Peter now. Wow, great lap. He was struggling so far in this session. He's now third on an 8.2. So all of a sudden, a lot of people jump into the front of the field. We've got one of the Red Bulls coming up to the line. That is Savage. Yeah. Yeah, just too committed into the chicane. Had to back out of it. So he's not going to improve on 7th place. Let's see who else is coming down.
Speeding into the pit lane.
Yeah, Harry's.
On my screen at least. Yorno, I believe, coming into the last chicane to finish his lap. Taking enough curb. Oh, hitting the wall of champions, though. That's going to lose him just a little bit of time. Coming to the line. P3 on an 8.2. That's a really good lap, especially for a banker.
For a banker in his first lap in the session. Great stuff from Yorno. 1,000th of a second slower than B Morgan. Could not get any closer between those two. Yorno into third place, which is good to see. Even with him struggling to get a lap time in this session, that means that he's not losing as much to his closest championship rival, J. Cole, at the moment. It's just really damage limitation around this track, I'd say, for Yorno, knowing how fast J. Cole is here. Looking further down the field, we've got, I believe, Miami on a lap in the Red Bull. He's well off his time, though, so he's already backed off. He will not be improving on 11th place for the time being. Peter's obviously coming round to get into the pit lane. He's going to continue on for another lap, maybe. Have to wait and see. He's currently running in 11th.
Starting a lap, I think.
Yeah, we're right on board with Miami then through this entire lap. Through turn 1 and 2 then. Nice and neat. Takes a lot of inside curve through turn 1. Through turn 2 then. Nice and early on the power. Keeps it in third gear to make sure that he doesn't get too much wheel spin. Through turns 3 and 4. Has to take a 2 stabs at turning into the corner. And now through turns 5 and then into turns 6 and 7. Another chicane. A 19 flat for the first sector. Half a second up on his personal best. Great first sector. But again, just too cautious on the power through turn 7. Had a little bit of a wobble midway through the chicane. Had to get out of it. Running right to the right hand side for the shortest run to turn 8 and 9. Into turn 8. Doesn't take a lot of inside curve. But doesn't invalidate. That is key. So let's see how he's improving on his time by the end of the second sector. Comes up to it now. It's only 3/10 up, so he's lost 2/10 in that middle sector compared to his personal best. He's now coming out of the turn 10 hairpin and onto the back straight. Let's see what his straight line speed is like. Obviously this track is a one for compromise. There's a few straight lines, but the straights, a few straights on this track that you'd want a low downforce package for, but the chicanes make it really useless to have that low downforce setup because it is so demanding on the car, these chicanes. And not a lot of inside curve for 13. Runs a little bit wide out of 14 as well. We're now coming up to the line. Miami does an 8.9. Stays in 11th place though. Good improvement, but at the end, just not really being able to hook up the perfect lap.
Yeah, I think in front of Miami we had the two Williams, I believe TBD giving subsidy to J-Luke. J-Luke doing his first time lap of the session on a 9.8. Yeah, just not getting the optimal turn in for the last chicane, losing him a ton of time. I think we have Harry starting a lap and the two Renaults behind him.
Sorry to jump in there as well, but Jay Luke, he's just spun coming out of turn 9, so he's done the exact same thing as Harry Nowak, and he's whacked the wall, so he's not going to be coming around to do another lap at any time soon with that damage, so he's going to have to jump into the pits. And again, Jay Luke really struggling in qualifying. We've seen this all season long. He just has not been able to find the pace so far after a great pre-season. It's just not come together for him, and he's well off the back of the queue in 14th. He will be ahead of Pease, who hasn't set a time yet. JSD and Pelly still yet to come out of the pit lane for their final runs. It's really clouded over in these final few minutes, so we might get a... Oh, we did get...
Screen.
Let's have to wait and see. It does look like he has. Yeah, wow. So Peter from the second row of the grid, a great start to the session. He's been disqualified from the session, so he'll now start at the back of the field. What a disaster for Peter after a good qualifying. He's going to be right at the back, tons on a lap, but he's 2/10 down in the first sector, so he's already way off beating his personal best. Breeze in the middle sector of the lap will ride with the Renault man and see whether he can improve on his time. We've got, I believe, B. Morgan and the 2 Racing Points coming up to start their final runs. I think Mark is on a run as well. Harry Noir's retired from the session. He's not improving on 12th place, unfortunately. Mark may be giving a slipstream to his teammate here. It does look like that is the case, but it's not really a very long straight. And actually, Mark way too far ahead of Bree to really make a difference. So here comes Bree into the final corner. Where can he put that Renault? He's currently in 5th and he's invalidated. Yeah, hits the wall as well. So in the end, Bree's not going to be able to set a time.
Ton coming to start a lap is well behind them. And then I think it's JSD starting a lap as well, coming into the last chicane. And then Yorno, the championship leader, also coming to start a lap.
We've got the 2 Ferraris directly behind him as well. Edux on a lap, so we'll ride with him. He's 3/10 up on his personal best. Currently running in 7th place. I think TDB was already in 6th place. He's jumped up to 6th on exactly the same time as Bree at the moment. As Edux now crosses the line in the Ferrari with an 8.2, so he goes into P4. Good lap from him. His Ferrari teammate Pelli's just started his final run behind him on the track. We've got one of the Red Bulls crossing the line. That was Savage. He improves on his time to go P6, so he is able to get into the top 10. Good stuff from the Red Bull man, but in the end, just not quite able to get into that top 5. 2,000s outside of it. Tons on another run, but again, not improving on his time. As I say that, sets a purple middle sector. A great middle sector from Ton. He's 2/10 up now. Having a look who else is coming up.
Across the line. Oh, it doesn't improve.
Oh, B. Morgan as well on his final run. A little bit up on his personal best. Has spun coming out the final corner. J. Cole's finished in qualifying.
Chill 7th.
Yeah, good improvement from Chill from the back of the field up to 7th place. B. Morgan's not improving on his time. Where's Yorno in all this? Yorno's backed off. So Yorno's not going to be improving on 3rd himself either. So it's just Ton coming up to the line. Where does he put that car? He backs off. He doesn't continue. He brakes before the line, so he doesn't want to continue on that set of soft tyres. We've got JSD coming up to the line in the Mercedes. He's backed off as well, so he's not going to be improving on 15th. But actually, he goes 14th ahead of Pease, but that's it for him. Who else we got coming up to the line? We've got Pelli in the Ferrari, but he's invalidated. So I think at the moment, the only one on a lap is TDB. So he's coming up, he's slightly up on his time, currently running in 9th. Pelli's retired into the pit lane. Here comes TDB around the final chicane, nice and neat, just about kept it down a wall on the outside, and it is a 1 minute 8.3 from TDB, goes 7th, and look how close it is. Yeah, very. Look how close it is between 2nd and 7th, just under 2/10 of a second between those 6 drivers.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, top 11 separated by almost 9/10, so very close qualifying session here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So
yeah, incredibly close. Yeah, really looking forward to this really close field. It really clouded over at the end as well. I wonder whether that maybe affected some drivers' confidence. Maybe the tyre temperatures weren't quite as high as they would like coming on to start their final runs. But in the end, neither J. Cole nor B. Morgan could improve on their final runs, but it didn't matter in the end. No one can get close to him, and J. Cole, I think, if I remember correctly, takes his first pole position of the season, and at Canada, I don't think we really expected anything less from him, did we?
Yeah, it's the best place you can start in Canada with a super short run down to turn 1 and pretty much impossible to overtake in the first sector. So he's going to be super happy with himself and should be on for a podium.
Absolutely, yeah. I have to wait and see whether he can keep it together. Obviously, D3 in history has been a pretty mad race, so that is... It's never out of the question that anyone could win this race from wherever they are on the grid. Just having a look in the chat as well, Peter said he got DSQ because he was letting one of the Renaults by, so I don't know whether he was caught driving too slowly maybe, or parking in a dangerous location. I can't quite remember what his DSQ was for. We are going to be waiting.
I think it was for blocking the pit lane. So yeah, that's not ideal.
Absolutely not ideal. He'll be right down at the back of the field. He could have, even with his first time in the session, probably still would have been in the top 5. So he'll be gutted that he's going to be starting 17th on the grid. But we will run you through then the final qualifying order for round 7 of the season. It's J. Cole on pole position ahead of B. Morgan in 2nd, 1,000th of a second ahead of our championship leader. You'll know he's in 3rd after only doing 1 lap in the entire session. Edux in 4th ahead of Ton 5th, Savage in 6th ahead of TDB 7th, Chill 8th, Bree 9th, and Mark only 10th in the end in the other Renault behind Bree. I think for the first time in qualifying this season. Miami in 11th in the second Red Bull ahead of Harry Noir, J. Luke, JSD, Pease, Pelli and Peter at the back of the field, and a lot of big drivers who are pretty fast. notably JSD, Total Peter and Pelly, all not being able to set good enough times in this session.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I guess the disappointments of the session. I think Miami 5 is going to be pretty happy with himself. 11th, first driver with the free tire choice coming up from Division 4. So he should be very, very happy with himself and should be on for a pretty good strategy to get into that top 10.
If you were starting outside the top 10, if you were starting in that 11th place, what strategy would you put yourself on?
I think I'd start on the mediums and then go either medium soft after that or soft medium. Or you could start on the mediums and do the one stop and take that, well, I guess, just take the one less stop, go medium hard.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to wait and see if luck plays into your hand. Maybe a safety car comes out, doing one less stop than everyone in front of you could give you a big track advantage. And like we said earlier on, it is relatively difficult to overtake here, especially if you are in a train of cars, like we've seen so many times this season already. So we'll have to wait and see which strategy comes out best and who's going to go for what tyres. But before we get going for round 7 of the season, Packer, who do you think is going to be on the podium today? What's your podium prediction?
I'm gonna expect championship 1-2. It should be J. Cole for the win, and then I'm gonna go for. Let's see if the D4 man Miami can have a good race on that opposite strategy, and then Yorno for third.
Here we go. Yeah, Miami from 11th on the grid to second. It's definitely a question. We'll have to wait and see whether he can pull that one off. Then have a look and see what everyone has gone for tyres-wise outside the top 10. So everyone outside the top 10 is on the medium tyres, apart from Total Peas. Peas in 15th in that Mercedes on the soft tyres. We know how fast he is. He's been incredibly fast all season long. He's had some really, really good pace. Hasn't been outside the top 3 every time he's qualified, apart from today, obviously. Not even setting a lap in today's session, but still only being 15th on the grid. Starting on the soft tyres, probably looking to make places very early on in this race.
Yeah, definitely. The soft tires should have a pretty big grip advantage over those medium tires, and he's going to try and get to that top 10 train and then stick with it.
Yeah, I have to wait and see whether he can pull that one off. And he's with the qualifying pace he's shown so far this season. It's safe to say that in today's qualifying, he probably could have been near the top 3 anyway as well. So it's not out of the question that he could get a good top 10 result. Looking further down the field, then a few other disappointments maybe in qualifying. Chill, I believe this is his first time. Well, this is his second time, I believe, in Division 3 so far this season, qualifying 8th, which he'll be pretty pleased with. I think Chill lost quite a lot of confidence really in D2, didn't he? He was in Division 2 and he lost a lot of confidence being at the back of the field, and being in the top 10 in qualifying, I think for the first time this season, is going to be a real confidence booster for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm guessing J. Cole is going to be expecting big things from the previous Division 2 man. Yeah, hopefully Racing Point will have a pretty good day today.
Yeah, Racing Point do lead the manufacturers, I think by like a 36-point advantage. They do have a really, really big advantage in the manufacturers. That was obviously when Hardy was in the Racing Point alongside J. Cole, and Hardy was one of the early favourites to win the championship before he got moved up in Division 2. So let's see if Racing Point can hold on to that championship lead. McLaren are currently in second in the manufacturers, and they've only got one car here today, so they're already at a disadvantage. You all know, flying the flag to McLaren once again, but just waiting for Peter to line up in the back row of the grid, all on his own on that back row, next to Pelly on the back of the field. And here we then go for 35 laps in Canada. Who's going to get the best start out of the front row? Is it going to be J. Cole? Is it going to be B. Morgan in the Haas? B. Morgan's best qualifying of the season. Can he convert it into a win today? And the lights are out, a really long hold, but they get going for the start of the round 7 of the season. Coming into turn 1, it's a fairly even start on the front row. J. Cole's going to try to hold it around the inside, but B. Morgan has a brilliant start. Drives clean around the outside of J. Cole into turn 1, and Yorno capitalising as well. Down the inside towards turn 3. Can he keep it down the inside? J. Cole is going to have to back out of that one. Yorno forces him right to the grass, and Yorno's through as well. And here comes Eduk trying to work his way round the outside of turn 5. It's very, very close, but I think Eduk just backs out of it before the corner. J. Cole able to hold on to third, but even with a short run down in turn 1, J. Cole absolutely swamped off the line, and B. Morgan makes a stellar start. We've got Peter round at the back of the field. He's spun in the Alfa Romeo. What a disastrous time it's been for him so far. Savage and TDB were side by side in the background, and TDB's had to miss the
corner.
Yeah, he's missed the chicane, and he's let Savage and Chill through. Chill's going to capitalise on that and try and work his way through as well. He's up into 7th place. We've got one of the Renaults side by side. Yeah, both Renaults and Williams side by side. Jay Luke's on a mission on those mediums, trying to work his way forwards. He's still side by side. It's 2 Renaults, 2 Williams side by side down the back straight. Down they come, and Mark's just going to hold on to 10th place ahead of J-Luke. TDB and Bree are still side by side. Can TDB get down the inside for the chicane? He has to back out of it. Bree stays in 8th place for the time being. Good start for him. He's ahead of the Williams man at the end of lap 1 though. What a start from B Morgan, and look at the lead he's got already after lap 1. Second clear of Yorno, and the top 5 have a pretty big gap back to Savage in 6th place.
Yeah, I think Savage just made a few mistakes into turn 10, which is the hairpin. Yeah, but yeah, B Morgan looks like he's gonna just run away with this and win it.
Let's see if he can continue with this pace already, breaking that DRS to Yorno. J. Cole, favourite to win this race, great qualifying, really poor start, drops to 3rd, even with that short run into turn 1. Yorno nearly hitting the wall coming out of turn 7, but just about gets away with it. Have to keep an eye on ERS management as well in this race. It's fairly easy to save ERS around here, but it's also very easy to use a lot of it with the amount of straights you have. B Morgan already at a 20% disadvantage to the 2 drivers behind him. Educk running in 4th, ahead of Ton in 5th, over a second back to Savage in 6th, Chill in 7th with Bree all over the back of him. Peter already with our first time penalty as Pease is looking down the inside of J-Luke into turn 10. Very late on the brakes, but gets the move done, and Pease has done exactly what you said he was going to do at the start of this race, and he's now latched onto the back of the queue of soft cars in front, up from 15th on the grid to 11th in 1.5.
Yeah, I think Harry and Pelly have been battling since about turn 6 or 7, going side by side through the entirety of the rest of the lap. Harry gonna keep that position. I think Pelly made it pass, and then Harry fought it back and won the position back.
Meanwhile, Pease down the inside of Mark into turn 1, so Pease is on an absolute mission here. He's passed Mark and into the top 10, and he's now on the back of TDB for 9th place, so Pease is absolutely flying in that Mercedes. He's got great speed. Oh yeah, just had to cut the grass. TDB was slow coming out the corner as well though. Is he going to have a look to the inside? Here comes
Mark.
That's really late. Oh,
contact.
That was really heavy contact that somehow both of them got away with it. J-Luke takes the place off of Mark, and once again, we've seen this so many times this season from Mark, has just really poor opening race speed. That's an audacious move down the inside of turn 8. That's not an overtaking spot. They just about get through the corner without any contact, and Pease is still down the inside coming towards turn 10. Is he going to look to the inside? No, he's not. TDB holds onto the place, but we do have DRS from this lap onwards now, so Pease should be able to breeze past TDB. TDB 2.2 seconds behind Bree in front. Pease is going to just breeze around the outside, but Pease has already used up a lot of his ERS to get into that position. J-Luke still holding on ahead of Mark in 11th place. Mark down to 12th, and the lowest off runner, Chill, our first one of the top 10 to pick up a time penalty, and TDB's into the pit lane. Meanwhile, change for the race lead, all that action behind, we've missed it. Yorno's absolutely flying. Oh yeah. Yeah, Educk.
Ton around the outside of Educk, just not getting good enough traction to outpower the factory Ferrari man, but yeah, definitely pressuring that 4th place and 3.3 seconds up to the top 3.
Yeah, I think Ton must be getting a little bit frustrated. The top 3 have absolutely disappeared at the front of the field. Educk over 3 seconds back already on lap 4, so he's losing a lot of pace to the top 3. Yorno into the lead then, passing B Morgan, and now J Cole, after that poor start, has gathered himself up and he's looking very racy. He's now on the back of the Haasman for 2nd place. It looks like B Morgan, while having a really good start, is now really starting to struggle on those soft tyres. Pelly picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Oh, Pelly out.
Ooh,
Where?
Coming out of turn 9, yeah.
That could be a safety car. Yeah, safety car. Full car safety car.
Wow, so lap 4 of this race and we have a full safety car, so this is prime opportunity for soft runners to come into the pit lane. It is a little early, but obviously any advantage you can have, you've got to take. Yorno's into the pit lane, B Morgan stays out.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really
and
bizarre
so does
move.
Ton.
Oh wow.
You'd expect the Haas boys to split their strategy.
Yeah, you would.
I guess not.
Yeah, you would expect them to split, especially considering that they're very close on track, but they've both gone for the same strategy. Who else has stayed out on the soft tyres? J-Luke staying out, obviously, on the medium, so he's now up into 3rd place, and that's going to put Harry up into 4th, and JSD up into 5th. Yorno might beat JSD out here. Let's see where he comes out onto the track. He's going to be ahead of JSD, just behind Harry Nowak. Yorno comes out in 5th, but crucially for Yorno, he's got a car in between himself and J. Cole, and this is prime opportunity now for Yorno to gap J. Cole and build enough of a buffer so that he doesn't have to worry about DRS.
Yeah, that's Yorno's going to be really happy with that safety car pit stop from the McLaren boys.
Yeah, really good stuff for him. I'm still really baffled at both Haas drivers just not coming into the pit lane. So both of them have stayed out on the softs. Usually you would take the softs to around lap 7 or 8 and then change to the medium tyres, so we're near that pit window already anyway. So the fact that they've stayed out on the soft tyres maybe means that they're trying something different on strategy. Maybe they're going to try and go for a one-stop.
Yeah, maybe soft to hard could work out well for them. I believe Miami and Peter both having damage early went under the hards. And I also saw Savage, who's now on the soft tires, change his wing, and Total Peas, who started on those soft tires. He had to change his wing as well.
Wow, okay, so a lot of people that were inside the top 10 have had to change their front wing. Savage going for a double soft at the start of this race, so he's obviously has to pit again in this one. He's not run 2 compound the tyres as of yet, so he's the one to look out for on a fresh set of soft tyres. Can he work his way through the cars in front? The net race leader, when obviously our top 4 and our 6th come into the pit lane, our net race leader will be Yorno. He's ahead of J. Cole. Edux now into 3rd place, and Bree all of a sudden is up into 4th. Bree came from 8th and is now 4th because a lot of the people in front of him either had damage or decided to not come in, and this is a great opportunity for Bree to challenge for the podium now.
Yeah, Bree obviously hoping not to replicate last season, which was a huge crash into the last chicane. So as long as that doesn't happen, he should be on for some pretty good points.
Yeah, and his best result of the season so far would be a 4th place. I don't actually know what his best result of the season so far is. Just going to have a double check for him, because he's had a fairly innocuous start to the season. His best result so far is a 6th place in Spain, so he's going to be hoping to look for a better result than 6th. Caesar's just joined the lobby, but obviously far too late to take part in this race. So 3rd in the championship, once again late to joining the lobby, and he's not going to be able to take part, which is a shame for him, and he could lose out to the likes of Mark in the championship. Mark and Eduk 4th and 5th and very close behind, so they could overhaul him in the points today if they are able to score well enough. But speaking of Mark, I don't know if Mark picked up damage himself as well, but he's now down into 14th. So again, Mark really struggling, and safety car in this lap. So Mark, we've seen this a lot this season, that he just doesn't seem to have the confidence on the opening laps, and he's lost a number of places and is now behind Peas.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I saw a bunch of people like stack up going into turn 6 or turn 8, my bad. But yeah, I think someone who's really benefited from this is TBD. Obviously, pitting for that front wing change right before the safety car came out, he could have lost out a lot of places, but now in 12th, having that pit stop before, he's gained quite a few from being second to last.
Yeah, B. Morgan, meanwhile, still back to green out of the final chicane. Ton very close in behind him as well. They're a little bit spaced out in the background, and Yorno's already going for a move down the inside of Harry Nawag into turn 1. Can he get this move stuck? He's looking down the inside. He'll have the outside for the next corner. Harry Nawag doesn't really have any grip to fight it with. Yorno's going to power around the outside in front as well. J. Luke trying to get past Ton, but can't quite get the move done. Yorno already on the move up another place. That's 2 cars in between him and J. Cole now, trying to get the moves done before DRS becomes a thing. He's on his overtake, trying to look to the inside of turn 6, but isn't late enough on the brakes to get the move done for 3rd place. So he stays in 4th for the time being, but he's looking very on those new mediums. And look at the run he gets out of turn 7, already to the inside of J. Luke, and we've seen this already in this race, that you can go side by side through here. He's late on the brakes. J. Luke backs out of it. Yorno up into 3rd, so Yorno 2 places already on this lap, is absolutely flying, and is now on the back of the 2 Haskars who are still yet to pit in this race on those soft tyres. B. Morgan needs some Ton. Yorno up to 3rd, and J. Cole can't work his way through like Yorno has. We've got Harry Nawag and J. Luke side by side, but they sort themselves out. J. Luke stays in 4th, and now Yorno on the back of Ton already. So Yorno, despite having a good qualifying in 3rd, wasn't quite on the same pace as J. Cole, but at the moment is absolutely flying, and J. Cole just stuck in 6th. You can see him in the background trying to work his way past JSD up the inside, but just doesn't have the speed to do it. He can't get the move done. He's on the overtake once again. He's used a lot already on this lap to try and get through. He's actually derating coming down towards turn 1, but still can't get the move done, and J. Cole is going around the outside of Harry Nawag, who's struggling here, but then J. Cole just taps the back of JSD midway through the corner. They get away with it. J. Cole's going to pick up 2 places in that little skirmish. He picks them up, but at the same time loses a lot of time to Yorno in front, who's now worked his way past Ton. Yorno is absolutely flying.
Yeah, Yorno getting those tires to optimal temperature pretty quickly once he learned that the safety car was coming in. J. Cole not doing the same and losing out.
Yeah, really losing out. Now into 5th place, is just under a second behind J. Luke, and J. Luke still yet to pit in this race on those mediums as well. JSD down to 6th. Eduk is in 7th. He's now ahead of Harry Nawag, so he's worked his way through. Savage has had an incredible safety car restart. He's 9th. Make that 8th as he now passes Harry Nawag, who was getting absolutely swamped on those older tyres. Savage also trying to have a look down the inside of Eduk at turn 10, but can't get the move done. He's working his way maybe into podium contention with this run. Harry Nawag sticking around the outside of him, coming down the back straight. There's still no DRS. DRS is enabled on the next lap. Harry Nawag keeping around the outside. Mark and Peter side by side, and there's contact further up. Sorry to interrupt there, but Savage I think just ran into the back of Harry Nawag's car And there was contact there. Chill had to take avoiding action. That puts TDB back up into 10th place. Chill down to 11th. Breeze had a dreadful restart. He's down to 13th as Peas goes down the inside of him. And yeah, Mark now down into 15th.
For a second.
Ooh, Peter that side by side, and Miami as well, trying to work his way through as well in 16th. But again, both Renaults really struggling at the safety car restart.
Yeah, Savage losing out there through the first sector.
Oh,
that's a big crash.
That's a massive crash. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, Savage on those soft tires trying to get a good start as he holding up Chill just a little bit there with that broken front wing. Bree gets past the racing point. Yeah, Savage trying to make up positions on the safety car restart with those fresh soft tires on everybody else on the mediums. But yeah, yellow flag for the Red Bull.
Yeah, TDB as well. I think Savage had a lot of damage on that front wing and was just trying to keep it up the inside of TDB coming into turn 5. And TDB was obviously expecting Savage to not be there with the amount of damage he had. And they made contact and that brought them both into the wall. I think someone else was in the wall as well. I think that might have been Chill that ended up in the wall in the racing point. So he was just an innocent bystander in all of that. Ton is into the pit lane on that Haas car. So he finally comes in at the end of lap 9. So that's what tyres Ton goes on to. This is going to be intriguing. He goes on to a set of mediums, so even with the longer stint and staying out, he's still gone for the medium tyres. So maybe not going for that maybe not going for that one-stop strategy, and instead just pitting too late.
Yeah, I think he might have tried to extend and go for that soft, medium, soft strategy. It is so much faster than the soft tires are so much faster than the mediums at the very end of the race. But we also missed Yorno getting past B. Morgan. B. Morgan now more than a second behind the championship leader.
Yeah, Yorno back into the race lead. Then he's made light work of this. He's made this look very easy. It's just like a moving game of slalom really for Yorno. He's just worked his way through this field nicely up into the race lead. J Cole up into 3rd now, trying to close down B Morgan. J Luke currently running 4th, just ahead of JSD, who's in 5th place. Eduk in 6th, stuck behind these two at the moment. And now that DRS is enabled, it's going to be hard for Eduk to get through this pack of cars unless they make a mistake. So he's currently stuck in 6th. Pease is up into 7th. So Pease having to change his front wing and being down in 14th at the safety car restart is back into 7th place. This man, I don't know what on earth this man has had before this race, but he is absolutely flying and is making these overtakes look incredibly easy. Bree, the next person to get his way past Harry and Wild, he's back up into 8th place. But again, yeah. Oh yeah, J Cole, is he going?
Cole getting past B Morgan into turn 1.
Oh, B Morgan.
No.
B Morgan sliding
Harry
over the road.
I think Bree might have won around the outside of Harry into turn 1 there.
He has done, and now Peter's on the back of his teammate now on those harder tyres. The harder tyres seem to be working quite nicely for Peter, actually. Working his way past Chill and Mark, and now on the back of his teammate. So the hard tyres don't look as though they've got that much of a pace disadvantage to the medium drivers in front. So let's see what Peter can do. If he can take those to the end, that will be prime opportunity for him to get into the top 10 later on. Looking at, again, I was just before, obviously, that little park of action happened and Jacob got past B Morgan. Just saying that Pease is once again absolutely flying, and just like Yorno, Pease is making this look incredibly easy, and he's now back on the back of Eduk. So Pease, even having to change his front wing and starting out in 15th place on the grid, still not out of podium contention yet.
Yeah, Total Pease definitely probably using the dual axis system on that Mercedes to keep those tires in the optimal temperature, closing in on Eduk in the Ferrari and J-Luke in the Williams in front of him, as we have B Morgan from P3 pitting off of those soft tires. That's kind of expected, to be honest, going on to another new set of mediums now.
So on to lap 12 of this race, we've got 23 laps to go. That is a tall order to take those medium tyres 23 laps. I think it is possible, but the speed of the medium tyres at the end is just going to massively drop off. And he's actually been jumped by his teammate. That's how slow the soft tyres were for B Morgan. He's ended up behind his teammate by nearly 2 seconds. So it's just not working out for the Haas drivers after a great qualifying. They're now running 12th and 13th. TDB's come into the pit lane, as has Chill and Savage. They've all come out of the pits in 14th, 15th and 16th, running out of sync with everyone else after their early damage. Oh yeah, side by side. That's a bold move from Peter. He goes around the outside. Oh, Harry! My
almost,
word!
Going into the wall where he did in qualifying, losing 3 positions, I believe, and also I think both Alfa Romeos got penalties there.
Yeah, I think Harry got it on the inside of turn 8 and Peter got it on the outside of turn 9, but bold move from Peter on his teammate. Meanwhile, Eduk is working his way past J Luke down into the final chicane. He's finally managed to make that move stick, so he's up into 4th place. J Luke picks up a time penalty as well. JSD in 3rd.
Look for Total Pease.
Yeah, P's trying to work his way through as well, immediately trying to work his way past J-Luke and into turn 1. J-Luke doesn't really fight it. He has to try to do the switch back into turn 2, but just doesn't have the grip. So P's immediately pounces on J-Luke and is up into 5th place. JSD, at the moment, JSD is really the only one on an older set of medium tyres that's got any sort of pace in them at the moment.
Yeah, JSD obviously keeping the temperature very nicely into those medium tires and going to be wanting to go longer into the race as TBD is retired.
TDP's hit the wall. Another safety car.
At the Chill's out.
Wow, so Chill trying to spin the car back round has put it in the wall, and we already had a safety car before that, so TDP's lost his rear wheel coming out of the final chicane.
Another safety car.
Wow. Second safety car of the race, and this throws Spanner into the works now. Now what do people do in terms of strategy? Because we're on lap 13 of this race. A lot of people have only done 8 laps on the medium tyres. This is a good opportunity for J-Luke and JSD to change onto a new set of tyres, but if it were Yorno in this race, so let's see what Yorno does. Is he going to come in? Yorno's coming in, so let's see what tyres he goes on to. Yorno's coming in. What does J. Cole do? J. Cole's doing the same.
Yeah, I think since Yorno and J. Cole both started on the softs, they can go onto a new set of mediums. They will have to extend them quite a bit past their optimal tire life. As Yorno goes onto the hards.
Yeah, let's see what J. Cole does.
Onto the mediums, he's going to have that tire life advantage right at the beginning on the safety car restart, but Yorno will have the endurance for the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to wait and see whether J. Cole can use that pace advantage to get ahead. Once again, for the second time in this race, Yorno's ended up ahead of Bree there. Why is Bree slowed down quite a lot after the safety car restart? Bree was in the lead, but Yorno just drove straight past him. So I don't know what Bree was doing there. Bree should be, Bree's going back past Yorno there. So Yorno just caught out by Bree driving a little bit slowly behind the safety car. But Bree now leads the race on a set of 9-lap-old medium tyres. Yorno's in second on a fresh set of hards. Peter's in third on an older set of hard tyres. J. Cole in fourth. So J. Cole, again, with another car in between him and Yorno. J. Cole, this time round, has got to get past Peter almost immediately if he wants to try and chase down Yorno for this race win.
Yeah, this time J. Cole will have a massive tire advantage against Peter on the 9-lap-old hards and Bree on the 9-lap-old medium. So he should be able to get dispatch those two pretty quickly, and Yorno obviously having a lot of pace, he should be able to get past Bree quite quickly as well. I don't think Bree was able to pit though because of Mark, his teammate, coming to the pit lane, not wanting to double stack and lose too much time because of that.
But in that means he's now stayed out, and at the moment, him and Peter are the only ones that stayed out, apart from B. Morgan. B. Morgan on 2-lap-old medium tyres at this point, having pitted a couple laps prior to this. He's now in 6th, but the person that has gained massively in this safety car period is JSD. JSD from the back of the field. He's on a fresh set of hards, the same as Yorno, so we'll have to see what his pace is on the hard tyres. But he's now running in a net P3 from the back of the field, so he's absolutely flying. And once again, Pease is now down into 12th. He has a 5-second time penalty as well for a collision, I think, with J-Luke behind the safety car. I don't know if he got that before his pit stop because he might have served it, but Pease, again, is going to have to work his way back through the field for the 3rd time in this race.
Yeah, another big winner from the safety car is Peter on those hards. He should be able to go to the end of the race on those hards. They will die off, I'm guessing, towards the end, but he should be able to stay in that top 10, considering it is very, very difficult to overtake here.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously the mediums won't be at their best by the end, so the hard tyres at the moment don't seem to really have that much of a pace drop-off throughout their stint, so we'll have to wait and see if Peter can keep the pace in them and keep within that fight for the top 10. And let's have a look further down the field, see what everyone else is on. Edok is now 7th on a set of fresh mediums, set of fresh hards for J-Luke. He's in 8th. Miami's in 9th in the Red Bull on a set of fresh medium tyres, having been at the back of the field after contact at the first safety car restart. Harry Nowak is now 10th ahead of Mark. Again, Mark just not being able to capitalise on these safety cars at the moment, currently running 11th ahead of Pease in 12th. Tun now down in 13th. What could have been a top 5 for Tun, at the moment at least, has been a disaster for him, currently running in 13th.
Yeah, Tun not having the best of times here, leading the race, I believe, or no, he was second behind his Haas teammate at the first safety car restart, so yeah, not going to be wanting to be down here on those hards.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping maybe for a little bit more chaos in front of him. Safety car is in this lap. Meanwhile, Savage is the final person in the field in 14th. After that damage earlier on, he's back at the back of the queue of cars on a fresh set of mediums. Bree now leads the field, so when does Bree go? We saw the last time out that they went after the final chicane. Bree looks like he might be doing the same. He's keeping the pace relatively high. He actually takes a bit of an awkward line through the final chicane and doesn't go because of it. Oh, and he weaves a little bit, and Yorno, I think everyone is almost a little bit like a Mugello start here. Bree's going right at the last moment, literally right before the line. behind him. Bree's gone. Yorno is side by side with Peter. Peter trying to get down the inside.
Peter going a little bit wide there, maybe having a little bit of understeer at the apex of the corner with those older tires. We have J-Luke and Miami side by side going into turn 3. The Red Bull man keeping her on the outside of turn 4. He's going to get that with those with those softer tires.
Nice move for Miami. Beat Morgan meanwhile trying to work his way past JSD. Can't quite pull it off. It's really clouded over once again. J-Luke and Miami are still side by side. J-Luke's back through. Miami back down the inside. And here comes Total Peas once again. Peas is already ahead of Harry and Mark. And now trying to work his way past Miami into turn 8. There's a little bit of contact. Miami might have to miss the chicane. That's going to allow Mark through. And Peas now around the outside of J-Luke. Peas, for the 3rd time in this race, is making this look easy. He's passed 4 cars in the space of 2 sectors. He's up the inside of J-Luke and into 8th place already. So Peas making up for it, and on the hard tyres as well, on the harder compound, making them work nicely. He's back up into 8th place. Let's see if J-Luke can work his way back past. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Bree still leads the race. He's leading after the first lap. J. Cole trying to look down the inside of Peter for turn at the final chicane. Can't quite do it. Bree leads. Yorno, though, with a great run through the final chicane. Let's see if he can get the move done into turn 1. Mark picks up a 3-second time penalty. Yorno looking down the inside, but just not late enough on the brakes. Slightly taps the back of him. Just about gets away with it, but Yorno not able to get past at the moment. Peter still runs 3rd ahead of J. Cole 4th. JSD running in 5th.
Good exit. Yeah, he's going to back out of it. That's smart from the McLaren, or from the McLaren driver.
Don't want to go for it in a place that's going to it's more risk than reward, and he stays in 2nd for the time being. J. Cole still staying in 4th, so there's still a car in between them. J. Cole at the moment not being able to use the pace advantage of those fresh mediums to get further forward in this race. It's Total Peas once again, the man on the move, up into 8th place. B. Morgan currently running in 6th. He's held station, as has Eduk on the other set of mediums, but just based off this safety car restart, the hard tyres actually do, like as TDP's unfortunately left the session, it does look like the hard tyres actually do have pretty decent pace in them.
Savage on Harry into turn 10.
Ooh, yeah,
Red
Savage
Bull braking a little bit earlier than the Alfa Romeo, but he's going to keep it on the inside. Harry having the wider line and going to be able to get more momentum and the better exit down onto the back straight through turn 12.
Meanwhile, Yorno breezes past. Yeah, Yorno breezes past Bree, meanwhile down into the final chicane, so he takes the lead of the race. J. Cole tried to work his way past Peter as well. Again, couldn't make the move stick, so we've seen this already from J. Cole in this race. He's just not as committed to overtakes at the moment, and he's low on ERS. He runs into the back of Peter twice midway through turn 2. Peter really... Oh, Breeze round! Oh my word.
I think J. Cole, or someone might have had contact with him. And Peter.
Peter gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with him. I don't quite know what that is. It didn't look like anyone was close to Bree, unless Bree tried to re-go for a move on Yorno and it didn't work. But I don't know how on earth J. Cole missed that one, but J. Cole with it with no damage. So Bree from 2nd now spins down into 14th. Yorno now leads, and he has a comfortable margin over Peter. Ooh, Peas
down the inside of turn 8. JSD locking up, giving up that position to his Mercedes teammate, but now he has to look behind him to Eduk going into turn 10. Eduk on those softer tires should be able to get it, braking way later than JSD. JSD, is he still on the inside? Not really. He's gonna have to give that up. He also has to look behind again to Mark on those mediums again.
Yeah, Mark trying to work his way through, not quite able to do it at the moment. He's going to look to the inside for the final chicane. But JSD has... Oh my word, JSD moves over on Mark in a straight line.
Oh, contact Mark! Almost into the wall of champions there. He's going to have to hold up J-Luke there.
Miami as well. Here comes Miami and Savage. They're all going to be ganging up on Mark here. J-Luke down the inside. He's got the move done.
2x2 into turn 1. J-Luke almost around with contact with Mark, with Savage down the inside of J-Luke into turn 2, just trying to take advantage of the contact in front of him. The 2 Red Bulls trying to make it up. The order is not really working for them. J-Luke a little bit iffy into turn 3 there, as we do have a yellow flag for Total Peas. Total Peas is out!
Wow, Peas I think has hit the inside wall at turn 5, so Peas was up into 5th place on the road. And 3rd safety car of the race. I thought I said Baku was a crazy race, and it's happening once again. 3rd safety car of the race on lap 19. Peas, after an amazing safety car restart from 12th all the way up to 5th on the road, with 2 people in front of him yet to pit. That is an incredible, incredible run from him, and he's now out of the race after making contact with the 5.
Yeah, I think this is really going to ruin the race for most of the medium runners, because Yorno and Peter, I think, still have fresh sets of medium tires. J. Cole not, because this is his 2nd set of medium tires, I do believe. Yeah, I'm expecting everyone to pit here except for maybe the medium runners, because they don't have that fresh set of mediums, as Peter gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. He's not going to be happy with that one, especially since most of the race has been pack racing.
Yeah, that's really such a shame for Peter that that's going to be hanging over his head. In the end, only 4 people came into the pit lane, so not really a lot of movement. That means that Yorno. Honestly, myself, I am surprised that Yorno decided to pit, because Yorno was in the lead. He's now 10th, and he's got a lot of cars in front of him to now work his way through. And we've already seen so far that it takes a lot of time and a lot of skill to pull that off.
Yeah, but I think Yorno, who is currently the championship leader, can do that with his skill and his pace advantage over guys lower down the field.
Have to wait and see.
And he also has fresh tires.
Yeah, he does. Everyone in front of him on 6-lap-old tyres, apart from B. Morgan, who is on 8-lap-old tyres. So have to wait and see whether he can continue on his run of good form and see if he can work his way back through the field. We've seen this so many times this season already that Yorno is incredibly good at just working his way through the field after having a bad day. So let's see if he can continue that here in Canada for our 3rd safety car of the race. We're going to be going another lap. We've still got Harry Newag and Brie yet to catch the back of the queue, and this somewhat saves Brie's race as well. After that spin at turn 2, he's now able to recatch the back of the field and try and work his way forwards again.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the strategy of the guys in the top 9, well, top 8, those medium. They hit the cliff, and they could get punctures. I know tire wear isn't very high here, but instead of tire wear, you just have pace drop off.
You have to wait and see whether they're able to keep those medium tyres in the window. Obviously, this safety car will help them a little bit. It will help them try and keep those medium tyres away from really dropping off at the end. But we'll have to wait and see, like you say, whether they're able to keep the pace in these tyres, or whether the likes of Yorno and the people at the back, the likes of Yorno, Peter, Harry and Brie, can work their way forwards quite nicely. But once again, for the 3rd time in this race, we now have a complete shake-up in the order, and it's again now J. Cole back at the front of the field, and B. Morgan somehow has managed to work his way back up into 2nd place after a bit of a botched first safety car strategy. So I wonder what B. Morgan can do. He's obviously the person at the moment who's worst off in terms of tyres. His tyres are 2 laps older than everyone else's, so he's got a big ask to hold on to 2nd place. Further in behind, is there really anyone that you think that apart from obviously the likes of Yorno, Peter, Harry and Brie that have already pitted, is there anyone that stands out to you that could work their way forwards nicely at the end of this race?
I think JSD has been pretty impressive so far with his pace and a few overtakes, trying to replicate his Mercedes teammate, who's now out of the race and caused the 3rd safety car. Mark should be able to keep his place, I think, having the 2 Red Bulls and Williams as safety cars in this lap.
Yep, safety car in this lap, so we're getting ready for the 3rd time in this race to have a safety car restart. Mark now up into 5th. Let's see, like you say, if he can keep that position on the road. He's been struggling at the bottom end of the top 10 so far in this race. His track seemingly just not suiting his driving style, so let's see if he can hold on to that. We'll have to keep an eye on Yorno as well. How quickly can he work his way through the field? First target for him is Ton on those harder compounded tyres, so Yorno will have a significant pace advantage over the Hassman. It's J. Cole, though, that's going to lead these guys back to green. He's already gone.
Goes.
Yeah, he's gone
He's
well.
Super early compared to the other 2.
He's gone really early, trying to catch people out into the final chicane. Takes a lot of speed, but his tyres weren't really up to temperature, and he slides a little bit. B. Morgan hit the wall, but here we go. Start of lap 22. J. Cole leads them across the line ahead of B. Morgan, Eduk and JSD. Mark caught napping at the safety car restart. He's holding up Savage in behind, looking further down the field. Is anyone going for a move into turn 1? No one quite close enough. Mark runs wide through turn 2. Savage trying to work his way up the inside towards turn 3, but hasn't quite got the momentum to pull that one off. So Mark stays in 5th for the time being, and that early safety car restart.
Oh, Yorno round!
Oh!
Yeah, trying to go up the inside of Ton, I think, into turn 3. That's not the smartest move. We saw him early backing out of a move into turn 3. Just seems he was desperate, making what seems to be the wrong call in terms of strategy.
Yeah, it's just not working out for him now. He's now down to 13th, so he's last in the field and the only one not in the points at the moment. He's got to work his way through, so it's now Peter that leads the charge of the people on the fresh tyres ahead of his Alfa Romeo teammate Harry Newag. Can Peter maybe work his way through? He's had good pace so far in this race. Up at the front, J. Cole continues to lead. He's pulling a decent gap. It's already over a second to B. Morgan and Eduk in the Ferrari looking racy. Eduk's had a very good season so far. He's just not quite had that edge to win a race as of yet, but he's been on the podium a couple times already. Let's see if he can continue that speed and try and get on the podium once again. Let's have a look through the chicane.
For the last point.
Crucial this is for Yorno in the championship, and he is through. He's up into 12th place. Peter picks up another time penalty. Currently running in 10th, still can't get past Ton. Yorno back into the points to see if he can get through again. Peter really late on the brakes. That's too late on the brakes into turn 1. Forces Ton off the road. Ton will not be happy with that one. Harry trying to work his way through as well, but I don't quite think he's on the grass coming out of turn 2, so he doesn't have the speed to pull it off. Yeah, Yorno backs out of it this time round. But yeah, from Tun's point of view, I think he'll be pretty annoyed that Peter went for a move so late there.
Yeah, he's going to have to look to the stewards for the call on that one, as Yorno up the inside of Harry at turn 6 and around the outside of turn 7 having the better traction. Tun, I think, with his now 3rd penalty. I might be mistaken there, but yeah, J. Cole, 1.5 second lead.
Yeah, it's absolutely... He's just driving away from the rest of the field at the moment at the front. B. Morgan doing a good enough job at the moment to hold on to second. Edok had a poor run coming out of turn 10 there. Not going to be close enough to B. Morgan to challenge, and DRS obviously is not enabled as of yet. It's kind of a queue at the moment down to 6th. Savage at the back of the queue in 6th place. J-Luke on the hard tyres really struggling once again, and now Miami trying to work his way through. Miami does have a few penalties in this race already. See if he can look to the inside of the Williams into the chicane. He's not close enough, but J-Luke really wide in the first part. Yorno picks up a time penalty in the McLaren. He's on the back of Tun.
To Peter.
Oh, Peter trying to get past Miami, and Peter's going to get it done.
A little bit of contact there. Peter maybe moving over to the racing line too early in front of Miami. Now Miami, Yorno with a purple 3rd sector. Miami's going to have to look behind instead of focusing on the Alfa Romeo and the Williams in front of him.
Yeah, Yorno gets his way past Tun. Yorno did a very similar move actually to Peter. I think there was a little bit of contact. They just about got it with it.
Move into turn 6.
Wow, look at that. Incredibly easy, and just immediately passes Miami on those fresher set of medium tyres. J-Luke having to defend from Peter coming down to turn 8. I've never seen so many people overtaken to turn 8 in my life. Peter trying to look down the inside, but again, not close enough. He's going to maybe have a look into turn 10.
Around.
Oh, just hit the wall. Is that him out of the race? I think he's just lost a bit of his front wing. He looks like he's driven away from the incident, so I don't think we'll get another safety car. Bree and Harry Noir get out side by side for 11th place. Harry down the inside, but holds onto the place for the time being. Bree understeers.
Bree's going to have to give that one up.
Yeah, he understeers massively there through the hairpin as well, so he lost a lot of speed.
Peter, Yorno out on a real charge, even after that half spin in turn 3, moving past everyone who pit at the safety car restart and past Tun and J-Luke.
Yeah, he's even, like you say, even with the spin, he's absolutely flying, so he's now up into 7th place. Savage is the next one on the queue. Fastest lap in 11 flat, I think that was. That's an incredibly fast time, as J-Luke's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately, so he won't be able to get to the end, and that means that if you finish now, you're in the points. So top 12, it's only 12 people left, so everyone's in the points at least at the moment. Looking back at the front of the field, J. Cole continues to lead. It's now 2 seconds out in front ahead of B. Morgan. This is exactly what J. Cole wanted at the start of the race. It didn't quite happen for him, and since then it's been a bit of a struggle, but now in the lead, doing a nice job of managing it. B. Morgan in second ahead of Edok in third. JSD is still in fourth on those hard tyres, so JSD in a very good position here with the harder compounder tyres that will definitely get to the end, with 2 drivers in front of him that might struggle to get to the end.
Yeah, I think Yorno's only about 6 seconds behind J. Cole, who is the leader, so he does have a pretty good shot at top 5 and maybe even a podium on penalties here. Yorno, having a little bit of a slide through the exit of turn 10, but does have a purple first and middle sector, so really on the charge here, looking to negate the gap between him and J. Cole.
Yeah, in the background, that was Tun, I think. Yeah, Tun really defending to the inside for the chicane. It's going to compromise his line. Harry Noir trying to work his way through. What this could have been for Tun, it's just not gone his way. Yorno does a 10.2. What a lap time from Yorno that was. That's incredibly fast, and he's already on the back of Savage, trying to look up the inside of turn 2. There's not enough space there, but Yorno is absolutely flying, but he's now got his biggest task in front of him. 5 cars, all in a DRS train.
Yeah, it's definitely going to... It's hard to overtake when you're third in the DRS train, nevertheless 5th. So he's definitely going to have to... I mean, he does really have a pace advantage. Savage, I guess, just moves out of the way, scared from the championship leader in that McLaren.
And here comes Peter as well. Peter down the inside for turn 8. Yeah, Savage. Yorno coming up the back of him, and that's the first mistake we've seen from Savage in this after this safety car restart. He loses 2 places. Yorno and Peter both working their way through nicely. Yorno now on the back of Mark for P5. So this has been a stellar comeback from Yorno despite it's been... Oh, he hits the back of Mark through the turn 10 hairpin. There was such a pace difference between them, and it caught Yorno out, and Yorno now on the back of the red man coming down the back straight. He will have DRS, as does Mark though on the drivers in front. Can Yorno get to the inside for the final chicane? There's not really any pace difference. Yeah, Mark holds
defending
5th.
with his ERS.
Yeah, Edok slow through the chicane, but is on the overtake immediately coming out of the corner, so JSD can't capitalise. They're all going to stay in the queue as it is for the time being. Tun's into the pit lane, meanwhile he's going to be at the back of the field, changing maybe to a set of softs, trying to go for fastest lap, as Yorno trying to work his way past Mark, coming into turn 3. We've already seen this go wrong once in this race. Yorno trying to commit to it again.
Go for it again.
Down the inside.
Mark braking pretty early. He's going to keep it on the inside, though. He does the Sebastian Vettel across the grass.
And Peter once again trying to capitalise down the inside of turn 5, outside of turn 6. Hit on the brakes though.
Yeah, super late on the brakes there. Peter having to move out of the way for Mark, who's very, very slow and slidey. A little bit of contact there on the exit of turn 7. Harry going around the outside of turn 8. Oh, more contact there.
Oh.
Peter gonna have to cut the corner. Mark, yeah, neither of them are gonna be happy with that one. Mark, almost completely out of ERS, so he's not gonna be able to go for Savage around the outside of Mark. Mark keeping it on the inside though. Savage locking up into the hairpin. Mark trying to squeeze out Savage. Savage just getting the better exit though.
Yeah, Mark once again being swamped here at this point in the race, now down to 8th place. And at the moment, Yorno, Peter's saying whatever Yorno can do, I can do. As soon as Yorno goes for a move, Peter makes it stick as well. In all of that, Yorno's past JSD, so Yorno's up into 4th. At the moment, don't count Yorno out for the race win here. He's absolutely flying. He's now on the back of Eduk, and Eduk really struggling to get past B Morgan. B Morgan on the older set of medium tyres doing a very good job of holding 2nd place for the time being. But Yorno's worked his way from 14th to 4th in the space of about 5 laps. He's absolutely flying. Let's see if he can pass these two in front. It gets easier and easier the further through the queue you get. There's less drivers in front that have to defend with DRS, and Yorno just so much faster through the corners at the moment than the drivers in front, who are on 14 lap old medium tyres, and they've still got to do another 7 laps in this race, so they're going to be really dropping off. Here comes Yorno down the inside towards turn 8. Once again, another move into turn 8.
Oh! Eduk into the back of B Morgan. B Morgan spinning across the track. Yorno avoiding all that. Oh! Eduk hits him into the wall. VSC.
That is a VSC.
And Peter is out.
Peter is out of the race. That was
JSD is losing his front wing as well.
That was an incredibly dangerous re-entry from Eduk there. Eduk off the road, having run into the back of B Morgan in the corner, just darting back on the track on the exit of turn 9, right into the path of Peter. Peter could have done nothing to avoid that, just slamming into the side of him, and he's out of the race. And what could have been a top 5 for Peter, he is now out of the race, and JSD knocked out of contention, as is B Morgan, and so is Eduk now with damage.
Does he have front wing damage?
He does. Yeah, Yorno does. So I wonder, maybe, was it a Constantina? Maybe did Yorno run into the back of Eduk, who then ran into the back of B Morgan, I wonder?
No, I think Yorno was on the inside of Eduk, and then Eduk just braking way too late, over eager, I guess, into the braking zone, into the back of B Morgan, spinning B Morgan. Wow, so it's all turned on its head once again, and Yorno, from an opportunity to win this race, is going to be back down into 8th place. What a shame for him. It was looking like a great comeback, but once again, it's just not worked out for the McLaren man. Down to 8th on a set of softs, so he can go for the fastest lap, which he already holds at the moment anyway, so he can improve his time and make sure that he secures that fastest lap in this race, but only 8th behind Tun by 5 seconds, and Savage picks up another time penalty, and Tun himself is 13 seconds behind his teammates. So it's really a battle between the top 6, and in all of that carnage, J. Cole now leads by 7 seconds. Savage has ended up in 2nd place in the Red Bull. I don't know how on earth he's ended up here, but he's now into a 2nd place, and Mark is running in 3rd with Miami 4th and Bree 5th. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really, really good day for the Red Bull and the Renault, not having the best relationship between those two teams. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good debut for Miami right now in 4th place. Now using his ERS advantage over Mark to go for the inside. Looks to the inside. Mark braking very, very late to defend his position. Yeah, Miami just not close enough into turn 1. Yeah, just staying behind. Yeah, staying in behind the Renault man for the time being, but all this is allowing Bree to close in. Tun sets the fastest lap of the race on a 10.1. Imagine that will probably be beaten by one of the soft runners in behind him. Bree at the moment has 6 lap fresher tyres than everyone in front of him, so he's the only one that pitted in that final safety car restart that's still really left in this race. So he's got a real advantage, and he could be on for a podium. At the moment, Bree is on for his best result of the season in 5th place, which is such a shame to think that that's his best result so far, because he had such a good season last season, batting obviously Upaka and Tun for 3rd in the standings in the end, for 2nd in the standings, sorry, and it's just not gone his way this season, but currently running in 5th with a massive tyre advantage. And it just goes to show Miami has a massive slide out of turn 10 and through turn 11. Bree trying to go for the move, coming down into the chicane. Miami does have DRS though to defend, and Bree has absolutely no ERS at all. Miami has 50%, so that's one problem for Bree, is that he doesn't have anything to attack with in terms of ERS, so he's going to have to maybe sit in behind Miami for a couple of laps, save up some ERS and really go for it in the final few laps. Yeah, it's a problem for both Renault drivers. Mark being on about 15% going into the braking zone up turn 1, and Bree now on about 18%, as Miami is on an abundant amount compared to the two Renault drivers, 60.
Yeah, he's really got a lot, and Savage has a bit more as well. Jorno does a 1 minute 9.6 for the new fastest lap of the race. Good lap from him. He's closing in quite rapidly on Turn in front, so he could yet steal another place off of him. But this is dreamland for J. Cole, out in front by 7.5 seconds. He probably would have thought after lap 1 that this was going to be a hard battle between him and Jorno for the race win. But everything's kind of fallen into his lap. He hasn't necessarily been the fastest in race pace, at least today, but he's been, I'd probably say, the only one that's really kept out of trouble.
Yeah, even after the second safety car, he's going to have to fight to keep with Jorno to even be near him, I'd say, with cars in between him and Jorno on the safety car restart. So yeah, he's really lucked into this place.
He really has, but lucked into it and then made the absolute most of it. He's got great pace out in front and pulling away from everyone behind. He is completely out of ERS, but at least the good thing for J. Cole is Miami picks up another time penalty. I think that might be his 4th in this race. But the good thing, at least for J. Cole...
he's going for the move on Mark, though.
Always going to the inside for the chicane. Mark, oh my word, Mark turns in a bit late, a bit early to the corner there. Miami kind of had to back out of it, and it's a bit wide through turn 2, just in avoidance really. So Mark just about holds onto P3, but Miami once again trying to go for the move and just not quite making it sticky. Maybe doesn't quite have the confidence to get the car stopped for corners, and Mark seems to be able to brake miles later than anyone else at the moment just to hold on to that 3rd place.
Yeah, just braking late on the outside of turn 1. A little bit of a runoff there that you can use to your advantage while defending, but again, there isn't much. It is quite a tight circuit here in Canada, so yeah, just being able to defend quite well from Miami on that 50% ERS. Mark not having much of anything. I think Mark is slowly catching Savage.
He slightly is.
I think he is.
I think he is, yeah. A couple of tenths a lap, so I wonder if Savage is maybe starting to struggle with tyre wear. Obviously, they are on the same amount of laps on these tyres, but it all depends on his driving style, and Savage starting to lose a little bit of time to the guys behind, so this will become a full-way train for 2nd place at the moment. Obviously, we've still got penalties to factor into all of this at the end of the race, so who knows what the order is going to be when we cross the line at the end. Mark on his overtake. Miami once again trying to go for the move into turn 1. This time has a lot of
contact there.
Yeah, contact coming into the kink before turn 1, and again Mark holds on to the place. Miami trying to go for the move and then just kind of backing out of it too early.
Yeah, I think Mark is trying to play the team game here, trying to hold up Miami and then allow Bree to close in and pass him, but Bree just not making most out of his opportunities, especially into turn 2 where Miami seems to be going quite wide to avoid Mark. But yeah, just Bree just not close enough in the crucial parts of the circuit as Miami has a big slide and into the wall. I don't think he got any damage from that, but that does allow Bree through.
Bree then kind of capitalizing on a mistake for Miami. Bree is now up into 4th place. This is the best result so far for Renault this season. Mark in 3rd, Bree in 4th, and at the moment I don't know if Bree has any penalties or not, so he could be on for his first podium of the season, as could Savage, and I think Mark. I don't know if Mark's finished on the podium as of yet this season, I can't quite remember, but Mark currently running in 3rd, a good result from him considering that he qualified 10th in this race. Bree now onto the back of his teammates. I wonder what those two do. Does Bree go for a move on Mark, or does he just sit in behind and wait till the end of the race? Jorno, meanwhile, has worked his way past Turn, so Jorno back up into 7th place, which is somewhat of a damage limitation. He will keep his championship lead by the end of this race, but the gap would have been cut from 16 points, I think, to almost level as Jorno actually loses the car. Jorno loses the car coming out of the final corner and slams into the pit wall, and that means that Jorno's not going to score any points at all, and now Jorno's championship lead is completely gone.
Yeah, J. Cole is going to be leading the championship by about 10 points to Jorno at least. I'm not sure well, Caesar is behind him as well, and Mark also scoring a few points, maybe even on the podium this afternoon, but seems to be under pressure from his Renault teammate and Miami 5 behind him.
Yeah, Mark coming through the middle part of the lap now. He's just not quite within DRS range of Savage, so Savage at the moment looks pretty safe in 2nd place, which would be a good result from him. His 2nd race of the season, he's had a 5th and a 2nd place, which would be good, and this is obviously his first race as a full-timer into Division 3, so good start to his proper campaign. Now we're coming on to the final lap of the race. I will ride with J. Cole for the final lap of the race. He's lucked into this position, to be fair, and I think he'll admit that one, but once he got in that position, he has not looked back, and he was just driven away from the rest of the field. 8.5 seconds clear out in front. Everyone else kind of crumbled in behind him. Jorno with a number of overtakes that didn't go his way. Contact between B. Morgan and Educ, taking them both out of contention. A lot of people falling foul. Pease, who looked set to maybe challenge for a podium today, crashing out on his own midway through the race. A lot of big contenders out, and J. Cole has been the only one that's kept himself out of trouble as he comes through the middle sector now. now. Further in behind, we've got, I believe, yeah, Bree is trying to hassle the back of his teammate, but just isn't quite close enough. Mark, again, not close enough to Savage to capitalise on DRS. They're coming around the final lap. They're on 21 lap-old medium tyres. Bree is very fast through turn 6 and 7, maybe having a look at his teammate down towards turn 8, but again, not close enough. He's not going to be able to make the move into turn 8. He might try and make the move down towards the final chicane on the last lap. There'd be fireworks between fireworks between the two Renaults on the final lap. This could really damage their race. You have to wait and see what their penalties are like. If Bree might want to try and beat Mark on the road, and that has something he hasn't been able to do so far this season. So Bree may be trying to go for top honours in Renault, but it might not work out, and Bree doesn't really have any ERS to attack, so I think he's going to stay in behind. But J. Cole's going to round the last corner. What a win for J. Cole, his second win of the season, won in Vietnam, and he is now going to win at Canada. A really dominant performance in the end, crashes across the finish line to celebrate. Savage is going to cross the line in second, but where does penalties take this?
Across the line.
Oh, and across the line, Bree's going to take second place on penalties in the end. Savage takes a podium in third. Mark's B. Morgan's in fourth. B. Morgan, somehow, after being taken out in the latter stages of the race, works his way back up into fourth place. Mark drops into fifth. Miami down to sixth. Tons in seventh. Where does Harry Noir cross the line? He's currently in eighth. Where does he feature in terms of penalties? Can he challenge the guys in front? He's not close enough. JSD will be next across the line in the Mercedes. What could have been for him? He had good pace, but it just didn't work out. He stays in ninth, and Eduk will be staying in 10th. He's quite a way back in 10th, so he won't be able to capitalise on penalties. But that just goes to show how vital penalties are. From nowhere, B. Morgan's fourth, and Bree takes second place.
Yeah, I think also Miami should be pretty happy with that first race in Division 3, 6th place. Obviously, if he had less penalties, he could have been on the podium, even second place in front of Bree. But Miami should be pretty relieved with his performance there.
Yeah, for a first time in D3, that is a really, really good result. And overall, for Red Bull, a fourth and a third and a sixth, really, really good for their manufacturers. It really kind of kickstarts their manufacturers. They've been kind of mid-table the whole time. And this is a good pool of points for them, as it is for Renault as well, with a second and fourth place. Their best joint result of the season. But let's run you through the final order then after what was another chaotic Division 3 race in the end. Baku was crazy. This one was crazy, not quite as crazy, but still very crazy in the end. J. Cole, though, from pole position. If you tuned in the middle of the race, I don't think you would have thought J. Cole won this one, but he ended up winning the race from pole position, 10.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. So like I said, he cleared off into the distance when he got the opportunity. Bree in second for his best result of the season and his first podium in Division 3 this season. Savage in third for his first podium on his full-time debut as well. B. Morgan in fourth, what could have been for him had he not had contact with Eduk later on in the race. Mark in fifth, ahead of Miami in sixth in his first race in Division 3. Tun seventh, Harry eighth, JSD ninth. Eduk rounds off the top 10 and the finishers. Yorno and Peter 11th and 12th, but they did make 90% of the race distance, so they will not pick up points for 11th and 12th. And both of those guys showed real potential at that final safety car restart, and in the end, both of them failing to finish.
Yeah, I think Yorno had very, very many opportunities to win this race and run away, as J. Cole did in the after the third safety car restart. Just Yorno making wrong choices in terms of strategy and overtaking places.
Yeah, just too committed to some opportunities that just weren't working. I will say, I said it in the race, I've never seen so many people go through moves at turn 8. I didn't think turn 8 was an overtaking spot, but I think I'm now convinced that turn 8 is probably one of the best overtaking spots on the track. We saw so many overtakes there, but it really cost a lot of people in the end. It cost the likes of Yorno, it cost B. Morgan, it cost Eduk trying to go for moves at turn 8. And that just goes to show the nature of this track. It's very, very narrow, and there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities. And I think at points in this race, people kind of got maybe a little bit desperate trying to make moves as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think a few people should be pretty happy with their races. Obviously, Mark in fifth and Miami, as I said earlier, in sixth. But yeah, they should be pretty happy with their results. And so yeah.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, that was a really, really good race, and obviously Mark struggled a little bit for pace in qualifying, but a fifth, I definitely think he'll be happy with that. As for B. Morgan as well, it's I think it's a bit of redemption for B. Morgan after maybe what could have been a podium. He does take fourth in the end on penalties, but I think he'll be gutted that he wasn't second in this race, at least after that contact later on. But that is where we're going to end off the stream today, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Division 3 for putting on another spectacle. That was definitely a very exciting race. Thank you Packer for joining me in the comms box for the first time. It was great to have you in here. And tune in, obviously, in about 10 minutes' time for Division 2 and 5 on League of Europe YouTube channel. And also go back and watch Division 1 and 4. They've obviously just taken place as well. So go and have a look at those races and see what the order was there. Maybe one of your friends or your close rivals did well in those races. But yeah, like I said, thank you everyone for joining in, and we will see you again this time next week for round 8 in Austria. From myself and from Packer, it is goodbye.
See you.